You actually get to play teams twice and figure things out. Look at VOD reviews. It's such a short, brutal season down in Group Nirvana, and the fact that the bottom 2 teams also get eliminated in Split 2 just adds to that overall. Jumping into the draft right here, though, the bans at the very start are going to be very standard. Orianna, Varus, no big surprises to lose those ones. ThunderTalk, though, banning away that Lee Sin and not banning away the Nocturne. So let's see if EDG are going to feel confident enough to just lock that one straight in for Xiaohao. It's been banned away versus EDG almost 70% of the time.
Yeah, TT took first pick. They have a chance to snatch up the Nocturne for themselves here. The other thing that's up is that Mbessa, which EDG had been banning against Keshi, but they are going to prioritize the Nocturne. I don't blame them. This pick is nuts, and they take it.
And the fact that you leave it through, you know that ThunderTalk are going to want to snap that one up, otherwise EDG will immediately be locking that one in. So what's the response going to be? Because again, you don't have that easy play around in the bottom side from the Lucian. You want some safety. I can imagine locking in the Ezreal would make sense here. Otherwise, it's kind of just the Xayah with that same level of survivability into that Nocturne. Now, because the Orianna was taken off of the board, you don't have that Nocturne-Orianna combo to worry about, that best-in-class combo to think about. Instead, just going to look for something a little bit more standard, potentially.
Ezreal Pantheon. Pantheon, a very strong jungler in his own right. I think Ezreal Bard looking pretty good for Leave and Shui this game. We talked about that Bard being up and available. They're actually going to blind the Aurora, getting themselves another very mobile carry to play up against this Nocturne. I really like Nico plus Nocturne. Feather's not the biggest Nico player in the world. He actually went through the whole first split without playing a game of it, and that first split was where Nico was like total pick ban. But he has played it once this split, and would potentially be able to grab it up again. They could take a blind Jace again. They hovered this last game. This would be a carry for Keshi, and they are going to take it. They're not going to get last pick, so they're going to go for priority instead and say, hey, we're pretty sure you're going to take support on 3, so we could take Jace right now and still get to ban to defend it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that when you are in the situation that ThunderTalk are, where Keshi has been playing incredibly well, you want to give him something aggressive that he can potentially take over the game on. I mean, alongside the Nocturne, you've got to play aggressive across the board anyway, and ThunderTalk, they are fully going to lean into that. Heru going to be allowed to play his Akali. As much as we're talking about how there's a lot of safety when playing the Ezreal, I don't know that one Arcane Shift and one Flash is going to be enough to keep you alive in this situation. There's huge poke, and then that huge full dive potential is right there.
Yeah, Jace, a little funky alongside 2 divers, but it's not the worst thing in the world. And you know what, Heru's not a guy I think of as an assassin player, really. Been a lot more magey this split, but hey, this is your last game of the split. This is for all the marbles. Throw it down. Let's see what you got, buddy. And locking in that Akali as a counter pick to Angel's Aurora. Individual performance could be huge here, and the ability to dive with Junhao, setting up for a really strong dive comp here. Feather's got all the supports in the world to try to dive with if he wants. He still has that Nico available if they want to go for it. My eyes are also on the Kai'Sa, the classic dive AD carry, and a good counter to the Ezreal. Frankly, I think EDG should ban.
I agree. I'm a little bit surprised to see that Sivir banned away. I think the Sivir pickup for ThunderTalk would really split them in too many different directions, right? Jace Sivir looking to poke and play slowly, and then you have that mid lane and jungle duo diving straight on away from you. For EDG, they've already got themselves the beginnings of a pretty nice standard front-to-back teamfight composition, lots of damage to be able to come through. I do very much like the Aurora. I think if ThunderTalk do grab themselves one of those dive-heavy ADCs, as we kind of imagine alongside the rest of this composition, the Aurora's great in that situation. Chuck down the Between Worlds. You can get away, or you can just go straight on in, get some backline access for yourself as well. It's going to be that Nautilus taken away right here. I, too, am surprised that we don't end up seeing a Kai'Sa ban. Now, maybe that's a little bit too rich for ThunderTalk. Maybe that's too many eggs in one basket for them to go towards, but I think it would be very, very fun. I do think you've also got the possibility of the Yunara in this situation if you want to play, again, some dive level, but also can play a little bit slower, more poke.
Good chance to deny the Nico here for EDG. It's also plenty good for their own composition, especially with that Bard banned away. It's a just fine duo for the Ezreal. Ezreal can hold his own, leave space for that Nico to roam around, cause some havoc, maybe pose in some minion waves. I do think the fact that sometimes it's only 2 melee minions now has been a sort of shadow buff to the Nico. People still really aren't used to it. I think it'll be a while before they're used to it. I mean, hovering Zeri Kai'Sa, you know where I fall on this debate. And, looks like it's gonna be the Zeri!
Okay. Something a little bit
more... Is this
more
Zeri Yuumi? It's Zeri Yuumi!
It is. Yep. Yep, exactly. I mean, hey, we were talking about dive compositions. The Kai'Sa wants you to have something a little bit tankier to play alongside it, right? Wants a dive buddy. Whereas the Zeri just wants to be buffed as much as possible, really likes that Yuumi. So this is a very aggressive composition overall. Like you said, a little bit out of place is this Jace. Good individually in the lane, and some poke is going to be nice to be able to play around, but, you know, you're also going to have to be jumping into that hammer form and going forwards with the rest of your team. And EDG, they've got a lot of tools to say no when you jump straight into them. ZDZ going to grab himself that Gragas as well. Pretty interesting matchup into the Jace, but really all about what you can be doing during these team fights.
Yeah, definitely going to be trying to break things up, going to be trying to separate players away from their allies. They're going to dive as one. You're going to try to split them up and make sure that ThunderTalk can be sectioned off and picked apart one at a time. Feather, we spent the whole series praising you, buddy. We talked about how you are an all-pro candidate, and you know what? Put the Yuumi in the bag, brother. You're going to be sitting here. You know, you can put your feet up, you can chill out. You know, land some prowling projectiles and click your buttons at the right time.
This is the second Yuumi we've seen all split long. The first one was Xiaohao. It was a loss. So again, we're seeing some losses coming on through right here. I mean, looking through the stats right here, it was not a good game. It was not a particularly good game right there. So we'll see if Feather's going to be able to do a little bit better. The Yuumi...
So, you know, there's plenty of places to go.
There's lots of different ways you could be looking towards this one. And remember, winner here, take second place.
Oh, we heard one big gyro before I cut out, I think.
Yep.
We've been playing with the audio balancing in the stadium today.
Yeah, a little bit.
We went from like 0 gyros to really big gyros, and now like just like a little bit of middle ground
baby
here
gyros
to close out the series. You know, they were there. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Game number 3, last game of Group Nirvana, 2nd and 4th on the line. Let's kick things off.
Indeed, let's. And Junhao right now, gonna take himself a little bit of an interesting bit of pathing right here and realize that he's had a lot of stuff stolen away, and this is gonna go over too. He's gonna fully lose out onto a couple of his camps. Will Xiaohao gonna be able to get away is the next question. Should be able to, right? Even with the fear.
Yeah, Junhao finds a nifty little trade there, but Xiaohao gets the last laugh as picked up a nice little camp for himself. Picked up 2 camps, in fact. Good start for EDG in the jungle. Be able to find themselves that early advantage. Getting back to their regular clears, this is going to delay Junhao's ability to be able to have some impact. And it is all about farming to 6 on the Nocturne, of course. So that's going to be a nice little advantage.
And the level 6s are so finicky to hit, right? If you don't get a couple Scuttle Crabs, you can end up having it a little bit later through. Obviously, the Wukong as well, pretty reliant on getting that level 6 to be majorly impactful during the team fights, but for the skirmishes, absolutely fine without. Whereas, of course, like you said, it is everything for this Nocturne. We're really going to be tracking what happens with that first Paranoia for Junhao. If he's able to make it work well, get himself a big early kill, that will be huge and really accelerate ThunderTalk into this game with a composition that they really cannot afford to fall behind from.
Certainly. Well, doing their best to farm underneath the turret are On and Feather. If there's one thing that the Zeri Yuumi cannot do at levels 1 through 3, it is contest the push up against this double-ranged bot lane of Leave and Shui. So they get a nice early shove. They get a little cheater recall off. Going to come back out here. Boots plus tier for Leave. All according to plan for this Ezreal.
Yeah, putting himself in a very good spot overall. And we'll see how the early game continues to pan out, because previously it has very much been EDG trying to get things done early on. They've not been too inactive during the early game. Oh, ZDZ, no mana, no health at this point, but Keshi taking that extra turret shot will dissuade anything further from happening.
Uh-oh, Junhao down a level as he face checks into Xiaohao. Really wanted to look for that Duskbringer, just in case it could have picked him up a kill. Xiaohao's chasing him, though. Keshi not really in a position to help out too much, and Junhao gonna flash, gonna get followed by Xiaohao. Xiaohao wants this kill, cannot get it, can't get under the turret.
Still, that's going to provide so much pressure right here, and especially with EDG just teleporting back from base, that's going to be the double reset out of Keshi, and Junhao getting some extra space for his top laner, and taking the flash away from a Nocturne is pretty big.
Lost coming on out here from Feather. They're going to look for a bit of combat on trading back, but they are still looking for this. Leave is up in their face. Leave tries to flash away, but it's too late. He gets taken down. Double kill to Feather and on the Zerayumi.
Oh my lord, there we go. Feather, potential all-pro vote. He was doing his absolute best, constantly jumping off, body blocking whatever he could, jumping back on. And really nice right there from Arn to just be able to lay down every single one of those autos. I don't think he missed a single one just then. EDG though, this is a bot lane matchup that you should be winning, and they just way over-aggress.
Yeah, and just really feeling themselves here. Like, they've just got the trading advantage. And to be fair, it's kind of wild for On to step up like this. They feel like that's a major error that they're going to have the chance to punish. But Tangle Barbs miss, double exhausts come out, and like you said, I don't think On misses a single blast this whole fight.
No, he hits that onto 2, he hits this onto exactly where he needs to on leave. Yeah, he's playing this one beautifully right here, and oh, I mean, missing that Tangle Barb to start is awful, and I love seeing the coaching staff as well. They are thrilled by that one, because like we said, this is not a lane matchup where you're expecting to get kills unless your opponents make a big mistake or you make a big outplay, and that was a little bit of a combination of both.
Also, shout out to Feather there. Potential all-star candidate for Group Nirvana. I do believe popped off and blocked an Ezreal Q in that fight. Huge.
He did.
Huge to
hey,
do that. On
that's
the
everything. I mean,
everything.
Look.
That's the whole fight.
We all hate on the Yuumi, and for some pretty good reason, but I don't get why they changed this champion around. It used to have such a high skill ceiling. It's been just so, like, muddied at this point, and it's really unfortunate to see, because the best Yuumis in the world used to be truly disgusting on it.
But the best Yuumis in the world used to play it, like, every series, and yeah, so that was, you know, you take the good with the bad.
True,
So
true.
now we never see it.
Yeah.
But
People are definitely happier with a lot less Yuumi on their screens, but I'm okay with it being sprinkled in every now and again, right? 2 whole Yuumi games in an entire split for the LPL, I think that's okay.
Absolutely. Well, On is certainly pleased with Yuumi right now.
Yeah.
He is able to pick up that early double. That's going to do so much to offset what was already looking like a rough laning phase and was going to continue to be so. Probably will continue to be so, even with the 2-0. Not like he's got a completed item yet. Is still going to be under the poke pressure of this Ezreal Yuumi, but I mean, so much breathing room given over from a quick 600 gold injection.
Exactly, and I think more than that, right, it just dissuades EDG from doing that again. They've realized that they cannot just step up in the same way and try to bully onto Arn and Feather, because they will get punished back, and again, like you said, breathing room is a big part of this. Right now you can see everybody just scrapping around these Scuttle Crabs. That may well be the level 6 picked up for Xiaohao when he grabs this Scuttle Crab. If not, he's going to be very, very close to grabbing it. Yes, that is going to be the level 6, and that's the invade, picking up that blue buff and stealing away those wolves, and that's the delay right here for Junhao. He's desperately trying to scrape together enough XP to be able to grab that level 6. Until then, there's really nothing he can do.
Truly. Luckily for him, his lanes have gotten a little something done on their own. Keshi building up a good lead individually as well. He's up a couple of waves worth of CS here to start things off nice and early, and Heru has been able to navigate the early laning phase against what can be a really high-pressure lane in the form of the Aurora. So all in all, a pretty solid early game here for ThunderTalk. We do want to see them build a lead now that they start to tick over to level 6. Junhao did just hit his, and they certainly are now going to look to build on that. But for the first 8 minutes, this is about as good as you could hope for.
This is exactly what you wanted from ThunderTalk. Have a nice chill first little bit, and then as you transition from the early game into the early mid game, this is when you want to be starting to accelerate the pace of the game. Level 6 coming through from Junhao. Let's see if he's going to be able to grab himself a kill here. Again, if the bot lane pushes a little bit too far forwards from EDG, that's a potential kill angle. Same thing onto the mid lane for Angel, although of course the Between Worlds is a pretty effective tool at getting you back away. Jouet gonna try beat a minion.
Well, let's see. Heru reads the situation, knows that this is going on.
Yeah, that's not quite how
minions in this wave
work.
Seems
and
suspicious.
They don't tend to just sprint at you either.
Maybe not you, but Xiaohao starting off onto the grubs. EDZ going to be here to be able to back him up. As we just saw, Harry was pushed in, and Jue has roamed his way on up, while Feather's still attached to On. So this is going to be an easy grab of the Grubbies. Now they are going to intercept in route here. Jue gets found. Popping a quick little lightning crash there to be able to chunk out this Nico.
Okay, there we go, and that's really nice to be able to just blow the flash and the heal away from Jue. The flash, the big thing, bro. Of course, the Pot Blossom is such a great tool, but it's pretty hard to get into the backline with it unless you've got the flash available, so that's going to keep the remaining members of ThunderTalk nice and safe as we go a little bit further into this game. It also buys enough space right here for Junhao to be able to go and grab himself this Drake, an early H-Tech Drake. Always one that you like. Pretty close, actually, on that steal. If the smite had come through a little bit mistimed right there from Junhao, could potentially have been taken away, but instead it will just be grabbed by ThunderTalk. And they're up by about 1,000 gold. Not a major gold lead at this point in the game, but the fact that it's spread pretty well across a couple of different lanes is very nice to see.
For sure. Into the first dragon. Going to be a nice little boon to have for ThunderTalk as well, especially when they were denied those grubs. Pretty happy how their early game has transpired. Is now kind of unlocked. Curious where this first Paranoia is going to go. Going to kind of set the tone for how effective this Nocturne is going to be. Certainly an option to try to head towards bottom. And I mean, this is why you do see the Ezreal and the Aurora picked into the Nocturne. It's because it is, woo!
Okay.
Flash forced out of Keshi.
Yep.
As the explosive cask was well placed by ZDZ.
If he was getting bopped back by that explosive cask, could well have gone down. And this is what we were talking about, right, where the Gragas has a really good lane matchup into the Jace, but then also about what you can do in the team fights is going to be the big boon of this champion. Keshi at least going to be able to survive, stick around, pick himself up that minion wave, and head back for another reset. And things continue along their pretty quiet pace. Only real action we've gotten was in that over-aggression down in the bottom side of the map. Teleport back into the top lane out of Keshi, whereas ZDZ does not have his up, is just going to be forced to walk. If you can get this wave to push on fully through right here from Keshi, potentially draw ZDZ a little bit further out on the bounce back, maybe there's a chance for Junhao to get involved with his ulti, but looks like instead it's just going to be the resets coming through once again.
Pretty calm ping-pong early game between these two teams ever since that 2v2 kill. And now, grouping up around topside, Xiaohao wants to make something happen here. He's got Leave in the wings, as does Jue. Now looking for a four-man dive onto Keshi. Junhao going to be in position to be able to respond to this. Pops the Paranoia, gets on in there. Pop Blossom connects onto both. True Shot Barrage lined up and knocked down. Junhao just shows up to fall down as well. Great belly bump from ZDZ. Stops Heru from cleaning anything up, but they will chase him down anyway. On gets his third of the game to make it a 1-for-2.
Okay, I mean, in that situation, I don't know that Junhao needed to jump in quite as quickly. Had just been able to get himself that Hex Plate, but leaps straight into the Pot Blossom, and they end up going down. Good, at least, that you're able to get something back right here from Arn, and that's every member of the teams drawn up towards the top lane right now. Now the bot side are just going to go back to farming in this top side of the map. Arn taking a pretty big chunk of damage right now, actually hit by the Tangle Barbs too. Needs to be careful, but you can see what those early couple of kills have done for him. He's already got himself those Junhao arrows completed, and there's so much more restraint being exhibited by the EDG members. This Pot Blossom's lovely, but the missed timing right here is just really rough. And Junhao doesn't even jump in with the spell shield active, doesn't press it the second he arrives, which would have at least stopped him from immediately being hit by that Pot Blossom and rooted up.
Beautiful play from ZDZ here. Just completely neutralizes the Akali. Doesn't matter though. On's in position to be able to clean him up. Still could very well have been a cleanup of 2 kills perhaps from Heru. Had things been different. So. Keshi is found right away here by Jue, and that might just be Keshi's life. My man is hanging out in alcoves where he is not welcome, and Jue will clean him up.
It would have been ideal if Leave could have picked up that kill, but they really didn't want to risk Keshi getting back to the rest of his teammates. On, jumping over the wall.
Wow, getting right back in there. Paranoia's back up. Junhao claims the kill. His first of the game. And ThunderTalk equalize yet again.
And this is what I wanted to see, right? This is when we see ThunderTalk at their absolute peak, is when Arn, Feather, and Junhao are all able to join up together. What we saw a lot from them in the previous games was they had Seraphine, Ashe, and then they had the Pantheon, and it was a lot of these long-range enchanted crystal arrows alongside the Grand Starfall to get a lot of kills. This time around, you got to do it with your full face as Arn. You don't get to just chuck an ulti across the map. You're going to be going and jumping in, but if you're able to do that with confidence alongside Junhao, which he has at this point, especially because of those early 2 kills gifted over by Leave and Shui, then this is a great way for ThunderTalk to be able to win and just constantly bully the EDG members out.
Absolutely. She's still up a little bit of gold on ZDZ, but definitely not running away with the game. On getting collapsed on from the side. Xiaohao thinks better of committing the Cyclone. Doesn't think they're going to be able to hold that Zeri still for long enough, and is probably correct about that fact. So instead it's going to be a recall from On. Able to get a second Zeal. Scaling nicely according to plan on this Zeri. Does still have that little bit of a gold lead.
Absolutely. And, you know, at this point, a little bit of a gold lead is not going to be the end of the world. EDG pick themselves up that Drake, now 1 apiece across the board. And ThunderTalk, from them, we just want to see them keep getting as much going as possible, right? Keep using this Paranoia off of cooldown. It is now back up and available, so let's see where Junhao is going to look for play. For EDG, they're going to be all about these skirmishes where they can use the Pot Blossom most effectively, where the Cyclone is going to be able to hit onto the most amount of members. And then again, ZDZ, whenever he gets involved in these big skirmishes, is going to be in a really good spot to make a big impact on this game. We've got the Rift Herald up and available. That could potentially be a place to look for a skirmish.
Yeah, and you know, it's a tough position here for Junhao. Obviously didn't get that second dragon after the pick onto Keshi, and now, without really great options for where to cast the Paranoia, it's hard to gank a Gragas, it's hard to gank an Ezreal, and he's kind of stuck on this bottom side of the map. Angel would be the best target, but Angel's up on the top side. Is going to commit the Between Worlds upon seeing On. Gets exhausted as well. So that's a cooldown down. That's a good Paranoia target if Junhao can get over there. For a potential jump over the wall is Jue, continually shape-shifting to various champions. Keshi going to get a couple of plates for this effort. So they want to make this siege happen. They know that Angel is vulnerable. Tangle Barbs connects, but Junhao is over the wall, casts the Paranoia. Probably can't take it, though. On's health bar is too low. Be the plan. Recalling in the Tri-Brush is Heru. Will get himself out of there. No problemo for the Akali. Now has to abandon this outer turret. Does Keshi. Not really with any backup to be able to support him. Paranoia back up, but not going to be the most useful.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, where are the real good targets to be able to grab? Angel could potentially be picked up, but you have to have him quite far out from his tower, which hasn't really been happening for a while. He's been playing pretty safe overall. And the rest of the map is going to be pretty safe for the moment. So really, we're just waiting another couple of minutes until the Baron, until the Drake, and, you know, letting the game develop through, which overall, I gotta say, I'm pretty happy if I'm EDG to have this game happen slowly. Allow my Israel, allow my Aurora to really get into it.
Yeah, oh, and jumping in is this Wukong trying to lock down onto On. He's the primary target. True Shot Barrage is beautifully placed, but On is able to flash out in time. Meanwhile, they're moving in on towards the top laner. Heru will be able to execute on to ZDZ and gets the first of his game. Very nicely done by Heru. It's a 1-for-0 trade, but nobody left to defend mid means EDG will claim the outer.
Yeah, at least EDG are able to get themselves a little bit of something back, get themselves some gold. They've also got a pretty big push going down on the bottom side of the map, so some stolen away camps that will be traded on the other side of the map by Junhao. And another effective use of the paranoia right in there. Like you said, really nice from Heru overall. Got that Gunblade completed, working on a second item coming through. 2 items have been completed for the bot laners, and you have to imagine the mid laners going to be pretty close to grabbing theirs as well.
Oh. Keshi having no problem clearing this wave, and now got ourselves 55 seconds to go until Dragon number 3. You better believe ThunderTalk are planning to show up there, and they've got to get there early. Called us out in draft. Needs to be the first ones onto the objective. Their hard CC tools to be able to get in and force the engage are limited. They want to be able to be the first ones there. They want to be able to jump somebody on approach.
Oh yeah, having the deep vision is going to be incredibly important, but that's another one of the issues with the Yuumi, right? As a Nico, you're very good at sneaking into the enemy's jungle, getting down that deep vision, creating a nice vision line. Over on the other side, as a Yuumi, disattached, you really don't want to be going on these deep warding missions. You want to be sitting on top of Arn pretty much the entirety of this game. And you can see it reflected in the vision. They've got a little bit down on the bottom side of the map, but it's on the top side of the map, but really nothing deep, nothing that they can use to flank, to see flanks coming for them. It's really quite tricky to get that full vision line down with a Yuumi as your support.
Yeah, well, Dragon is now up, and ThunderTalk are not the ones in control over the river,
Nope.
so let's see what they can do. Junhao now carrying the Yuumi for the time being, going to get that little stats boost. Heru coming on in, and they do get control over mid, so they can move their way from this side. They see the Dragon. It's down to 4k HP. They have a way to paranoia themselves on in. Looking for the flank now is Heru, trying to path on around. Are they going to pull the trigger? No, they won't. The Dragon going to go down. Paranoia popped now. They're going to try to take this fight 5 versus 5. Heru tumbles on in. Pop Blossom connects onto 2. Heru looking for the execute. Stasis going to keep him alive for a little bit longer. Xiaohao going to end up falling on down. They do manage to finish off the post Pop Blossom Jue as well. ZDZ the next target. On staying alive. Yuumi healing, doing the work. Double kill to Keshi. And ThunderTalk are able to clean up this fight 3-0, maybe a little bit more. Keshi flashing back over the wall. Angel going to try to chase him down. Junhao going to be able to finish off Leave. And Angel will be the last survivor, limping away from the fight. It's a 4-for-1 team fight for ThunderTalk.
And it was so close right there. I mean, everything and the kitchen sink thrown by ZDZ at Arn, and he just survives. Feather doing absolute work during that team fight, and Arn paying it back with big damage for the team. We'll have a look back at this one, because it's all kicked off by this flank coming through from the Akali. Not exactly what you expect as that big moment of flanking, but look, the team fight just gets so utterly split up. And I've got to be honest, I don't think that the intention is to click. It is. To survive, I think Leave has to click the Herald, but that's a ton of your damage that's now just, like, driving around in circles. To be fair, it does nearly kill Arn. I mean, what a close team fight right there. Arn is so close to going down, but in the end, the little drive-by does at least pick up another kill onto Keshi.
Yeah, he needs to get in there, though. The momentary stasis while you channel in is the only reason he survives that kunai from Heru. So
yeah, I thought he had potentially misclicked it, like it just pops out of somebody because it's run out of timer, and then you just accidentally click it. I think it did pop out accidentally. I don't know why you'd summon it mid-team fight, but I do think that, yes, you're right. Leave knew that he needed it to survive in that situation, so well done to him. And he does at least land a couple of knockups, but when my Ezreal is landing knockups and not damage, I am a little bit worried about what's happening in the team fight.
Oh, now, next up on the menu, Baron has spawned. Still a bit of a bold maneuver to try to start something like that at this point, but ThunderTalk at the very least going to set up a lot of vision in and around this top side. Paranoia just popped in mid lane, going all out onto Angel's Aurora. Actually, that's Leave. He's going to get melted on down. Keshi going to be able to pick up the kill.
Okay.
And they managed to melt that Ezreal, all mobility aside. Meanwhile, Heru picks off the mid laner on the side. Really good stuff there. And they are able to close out 2 kills out of nowhere. ZDZ still looking for a little bit more. Keshi takes one more turret shot, and they cannot finish the job. ThunderTalk, 2 more picks. Now it's time to start the Baron. Angel and Leave are down for 20+ seconds.
Yeah, I mean, yes, Xiaohao is up and available, but I don't know that he's actually going to be able to get into the pit right here. Baron going down pretty quickly, not exactly melting away, however, and...
Oh!
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why Keshi was
Keshi.
trying to recall in that bush.
4 versus 3.
It's gonna
and they're
stop
actually going to back on away.
Oh
Keshi
my.
getting bopped by a quick little barrel is what makes the difference there. And they do abandon the purple worm.
Keshi, I'm not entirely sure why he decided to base in that brush. I mean, it was always going to be EDG stepping up to at least look for the potential of a steal away, look to potentially go for that fight. We'll have a look back at this one, though, and it's just the great combo with the paranoia immediately jumping on forwards, and there's no way to get away from this one, even with the jump out. Nothing to be done. Angel, though, trying to flank on this one. Again, not ideal flanking champions in a lot of situations right now, and Heru just walks him down. I mean, this was really well played from Heru, but just no right to be there at that point from Angel.
Yeah, honestly, Angel played that as well as he could have. Dodged the shuriken flip on foot, which is very hard to do while you're getting perfect execution.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. The shock
So
blast
he even
plus the
sends a
Kali
shock
combo
blast.
is enough damage to just take him down. Yeah, that's a no-no, Keshi. That's yeah, that's coach is gonna yell at you for that one.
Oh yeah, especially after you've sent an accelerated shock blast out of that brush, so you are well aware that your opponents are well aware of where you are, and then still ends up getting taken down. We'll see how much that's going to cost ThunderTalk, because they are still up by about 4,000 gold in this game. Down by a Drake, but again, the Baron is going to be the main focus at the moment, although with the Drake spawning in 10 seconds time, we'll see if EDG just want to send multiple members down towards the bottom side of the map. Again, there's just so little vision for ThunderTalk, but they've been able to make it work so far.
Yeah, just been able to full send it, be able to win out the fights, and there's Eri now more fed than ever, 3 items deep. This might be the best opportunity they have to full send a fight. Instead, they are just going to push back EDG with their poke damage, and now they have control over the river. They're the first ones here. They're starting off the Baron, and EDG have to walk into them. These are the kinds of fight conditions that we were talking about that favor ThunderTalk. They've got a deep flank here for Heru. ZDZ knows that he's in the area, going to try to hunt him down. So it's a 4 versus 4 in the river as top laner and mid laner
Baron.
duke it out. Paranoia popped. Baron, they don't want to drop it. It's at 5k HP.
Oh!
On finds a huge lightning crash onto 3. Can he play out the rest of the team fight, though? He's locked down by the Pop Blossom. They're walking right up to him, and CDZ going to get the job done. Leave very low. Heru going to be able to flash after him and finish him off with the kunai. And now Xue going to be the next target. Angel on a sliver of HP. ZDZ paying off huge in this team fight. Walked up and popped the Zeri. That's the only reason that EDG are going to walk out of this one with members alive.
Xue massive with the Pop Blossom right there, otherwise that was going to be a complete disaster of a team fight for EDG. ThunderTalk at least going to be able to get a couple members out alive on just getting taken down there after the lightning crash. I thought that was going to be a 100% one team fight. Like you said, Heru playing out of his mind on this one. I feel like a lot of the focus right now is going towards Arn, is going towards Junhao and Keshi for some more of the flashy plays overall. But Heru has been excellent at just finding those flanks, finding these big kills, and drawing the attention of the EDG members away from these key targets.
Understands the assignment this game, and yeah, has been a bit of an unsung hero for ThunderTalk this split. Still a rookie this year. This is only his second split. I think Keshi has gotten a little bit more of a highlight, but when they played together on BLG Junior, it was Heru that was the big star, more so than Keshi. They've kind of inverted those roles in their time in the LPL, but Heru looking more and more on form as time goes on, and as ThunderTalk looks better. Looking to make this trade. The Dragon did fall on down. EDG now on Soul Point. ThunderTalk going to try to make the trade for the Baron. And they are working on this one. It gets down to about half HP. Here's Heru on the flank. Going to get halted by this Gragas once again. But that's Explosive Cask and Belly Buff used. Dives into Angel out of the back line. And that's the first one to drop. On is completely untouched in this fight. Got the lightning crash down. And he's going to play it front to back. 2 already. Step it up onto ZDZ. Leave. Land in the skill shots. Can't quite take on down. That's 1 HP for the ThunderTalk marksman. But they do not finish him off. It's a 1 for 3.
I know, and Leave now continuing to push on forwards. I mean, so many of these Mystic shots and just not quite landing, but you've got very low health members of EDG now corralled up towards the top side of the map. It looks like they're going to be able to just establish themselves a push, and Leave is going to have to back away. Nobody is going to come around with the Baron after the second look at it. And once again, EDG, they are fighting for their lives right now.
Yeah, I gotta see that replay. There was a moment in that fight that On's at full HP, Zeri on top of him, gunning folks down, picks up a double, stepping up to finish the rest off with 1 billion movement speed, and somehow he gets taken down to a sliver.
Yeah, we'll have a look back at this one because you are absolutely right. On looked like he was set up right here to be able to play this whole one through. Lightning crashes quite early, doesn't tag it onto so many members. Leave is also free hitting. This is the other thing, right? As much as we're looking at Arn and he is free hitting, Leave has been able to keep himself full health the entire way through, and at the point at which he opens up, he just has to land a couple of different hits. Yeah, I mean, it's gorgeous right here. The Mystic shots are landing, but the Essence Flux, every single time he's getting that massive extra chunk of damage, which on a Zeri, with a Yuumi on top, dancing through a teamfight, is incredibly impressive.
Leave just landed 4 skill shots onto like a 700 movement speed carry.
Yes, exactly. Like, the Zeri is zooming right now, and Leaf just doesn't care. He is just laser focused.
Yeah, really well played by Leaf there. Probably game saving, to be honest. But there's still more game to be played. Baron getting taken down, 5k HP. Once again, Paranoia popped. Where's the Nocturne going to go? Trying to play it front to back, but On is just completely blown up, left out to dry. 5 members funnel on top of On's face, and there's nowhere for him to go. EDG with the easiest team fight of their lives, 3-0.
I don't know why in that situation we saw Leave jump forward. He jumps over the top of the wall. They're already sat at the back of the Baron pit, which is a very risky place to be. Angel not necessarily expecting Keshi to be in that brush, so it does end up falling down. But now Keshi is sort of on the wrong side of the map. At least is going to keep his jungler alive, which is good, you know, with... It's something.
Well done, Keshi.
Sacrificing himself for the greater good of the team right there, and picking up a kill on the way through as well. Gordo, ThunderTalk were up by about 6,000 gold. They are now barely up by anything. The Baron has gone over to EDG, and this is now twice in a row where they've just... Sorry, 3 times in a row, where they decided to start up the Baron first, and then try to turn the teamfight back around, but just get run through with all of the CC, all of the teamfight tools that EDG have.
Yeah, that was pretty straightforward. I'm gonna be honest with you. Just walk forward and press your big AOE circle ultimates, and when you hit the Zeri, good for you. And now
well,
EDG,
when the Zeri jumps over the wall into your waiting arms.
Yeah. I mean that'll do it. That'll do it. And gonna need to see a little bit cleaner stuff from On there. More like the previous team fight, less like that one. And you know, if Leave doesn't go Super Saiyan, perhaps you're able to win it out. But I don't know if you're going to get that opportunity again. I mean, this is a huge run with the Baron buff from EDG. They're going to crack open the base here. Keshi dashes forward, has to flash away from between worlds. And once again, now a little bit low. Will they look to engage with this Paranoia? They do not tap it. Heru very far away from the flank. He used teleport.
Yeah,
so many tools blown, nothing accomplished. Junhao nearly gets picked by an explosive cast. And this siege is unrelenting. On going to step on up, but they're able to disengage so easily. Heru on the flank, but the flank for what? Your whole team's out of tools, out of health. It's all done.
Yeah, and that's just going to be the quick Baron-empowered recalls to head everybody back to base. We'll have a look back at this play. On. Okay.
Oh, it was an explosive cast.
He does get hit by the cask in, but I don't know why he's positioning like that. He needs to be positioning further down beneath the rest of his team. He gets bopped in, and ZDZ has just been playing incredibly well. He definitely deserves MVP if EDG are able to pull this one through, because he has been all over this game.
Yeah, that was a great cask from ZDZ. Has really done a lot to mark Heru. We praised Heru this game, but I mean, Heru would have carried this game already if not for ZDZ marking him and thwarting him in multiple team fights, multiple engagements. This is soul for EDG if they're able to secure it. So ThunderTalk need to make this fight work. Heru is on the flank. Just use the shuriken flip. Here's the Paranoia. They're going on in, looking for the steal. Will be able to find it. Junhao going to keep that soul at bay, and now they're going to try to play out the fight. On getting dove onto by Xiaohao. Xiaohao will finish him off, and now Feather left out in the middle of nowhere all on his own, but Heru is still alive. Going to pick up that cat and look to keep that fight going, but Junhao left on alone against Xiaohao, who does deal more damage than this Nocturne can deal with. Heru now looking to continue to play out the fight, dashing around, looking for the team fights, jumps on over, lands the shuriken flip, gets over the wall, gets back into the stasis, but Xiaohao is just too strong. He's just bonking him with the bonking stick, and EDG will win out the team fight 4 for 3.
4 for 3, and Junhao so low right here. Gonna get chased towards by Xiaohao. Not gonna be picked up, and off the back of that play, ThunderTalk, they survive, but they're now down by about 1,000 gold, and this is multiple team fights in a row where you just cannot keep on alive.
Yeah, I mean, the steal on the Dragon, saving grace for Junhao here.
Huge. Really good steal right here, but watch on during this team fight. He steps up, doesn't see that the Pop Blossom's happening over the wall, once again gets hit by the explosive cask into that belly bop, and it's just massive plays from all of the members, but specifically ZDZ, who has just been an absolute nightmare right here to Arn's chances of carrying his team through this game.
That frankly could have been worse. I think he got hit by a pretty perfect explosive cask to throw him into the team, and then got stopped mid-transit by the Cyclone.
Yep.
He could have flown even deeper and died even faster.
Heru so close to being able to make this one work as well. And Junhao just not able to complete this one off, and this game right on a knife's edge still, but it really does feel like the peak power of the ThunderTalk composition has passed us, and EDG are now in a great spot to be able to pick this game up.
Yeah. Still, a good engage, a good flank from Heru could make
pick.
the difference. And I mean, this is a little bit of a trapped Aurora here. Paranoia gonna get popped. Keshi here for the follow-up damage. The rest of the team coming to back them up. Heru going to tumble in. Heru finds the first kill of the fight, and already it's a 5 versus 4. On stepping forward. Welcome back, everybody. We didn't chrono break again. Angel's still dead. We figured it out.
We did. We don't know what happened there. With
I don't
that
have any
second
information
pause.
on the second pause. I'm so sorry.
Nope, absolutely none. No information whatsoever on that one, but we're back into game. And so, we will have a quick recap of where it is that we are at right now, because it's been a while, and some things have changed. Angel dies, but nothing comes of it, unfortunately, for ThunderTalk. It looked like they were going to get some kind of big pick off of it. It doesn't. Instead, it looks like ThunderTalk are going to try the strange strategy again, where they just instantly take the Baron, Angel dead still for 7 seconds.
All right, it's still a 5 versus 4, and here is the flank angle for Heru coming on out. ZDZ trying to find him, trying to spot him out, does see him for a split second on that scanner, and here's the respawned Angel. They're going to pull the trigger, going on in with the Paranoia. Junhao going to get melted down immediately, but the final chapter raining across the rest of the team. Heru has found leave! His flank has found both carries! He'll stay alive thanks to the Yuumi healing, and it took ThunderTalk half an hour of meditation, but they found the team fight that they needed and pulled themselves right back into this game.
Arn survives, and Heru makes all of the plays happen, teleporting back into the top lane as well, with a big minion wave in tow. ThunderTalk gonna look to crack open the base right now, and there's still 30 seconds until anybody's back up and available.
They are going to march their way into this base. They're going right through the top lane inhibitor turret, right through the top lane inhibitor. And after all this waiting, after all this tension, ThunderTalk Gaming are ready to shock the LPL. They will finish second in Group Nirvana after not winning a single series in split number 1.
There we go. It took a while. It took a little bit with the pause to be able to get there. I've got to be honest, Gordo, I'm thrilled with this result. It's not that I dislike EDG. It's not that I've got any, dislike for them, especially with the pause. Chrono breaks happen. If ZDG's computer explodes, there's nothing he can do about it. But in a purely ThunderTalk fashion, I'm so happy for them. They had such a miserable time in split number 1, of them to be able to pull it back and not just escape relegation from the league, but actually to be able to fully get themselves into second place just behind LNG. What a turnaround from this squad.
What a turnaround indeed. And what a game from Heru to close out the series, right? A little bit of an unsung hero for ThunderTalk throughout a lot of the split. A rookie off BLG Jr. shows up big time on this Akali, a pick that we have not seen him on much this split, this year at all. And he comes up huge, especially in that last team fight. Gets the flank off, evades the Gragas, gets both carries, wins TT the game.
Yeah, and is able to play really well. I mean, you said it, right? Unsung hero a lot of the time for this squad. Not necessarily the person that everybody is thinking about as that guy for them overall. But in this last game, absolutely that guy. He was just playing so very cleanly and making so much happen. And it's really unfortunate for EDG here because ZDZ and Leave were playing an incredibly good game. Those two were just all over the shop. I mean, especially Leave. A couple of those team fights were beautiful. He was an absolute sniper with those Mystic shots onto very fast, very annoying to hit carries. I mean, it's not like Arn and Feather aren't zooming their way around that fight, but he's able to do incredibly well. But it just isn't quite enough when Heru's able to find those flanks, and then again, Arn survives. As soon as he survives that initial engage, these team fights are so much easier for ThunderTalk to play out.
Certainly are. And ThunderTalk will walk away victorious at the end of the day. 2 major victories for them. The first was the first win that saved them from relegation. The second will get them second place in the group. And so, we can pull up the standings graphic again. We got the final standings here for the split for Group Nirvana. It is LNG in first place. It is ThunderTalk in second, LGD in third, EDG in fourth, Ultra Prime in fifth, OMG in sixth. And maybe we don't have it updated, but that's just fine.
As we said earlier on, just after game number 1, we're going to salute to our fallen brothers. Goodbye to OMG, goodbye to Ultra Prime. It is incredibly unfortunate for them that you don't get to play, and with the LDL not really happening at the moment, you do just kind of disappear. There isn't really any guaranteed play coming on through. Obviously, very unfortunate for these orgs. I feel especially bad for the players on those squads who weren't quite able to do enough to keep their squads up. I mean, some players that were really fun. Rio, somebody we had a lot of excitement for, really, when he was able to get a couple of fun games in during the last split, but just not quite enough to be able to pull the squad through.
Yep. Locked on in our ThunderTalk. Congratulations to them. Still some standings shenanigans to be sorted out in Group Ascent. I think the only thing we know for sure is that WE will be locked into 8th. There are our post-game stats. Big damage game for Keshi here, but I think definitely not given, not showing the story for Heru here. And that's an LPL gold graph if I've ever seen one, Bloxer.
An ideal. An LPL gold graph and a 30-minute pause in the middle of a game. This is the LPL, baby. This is the
it should just
absolute
be blank for 30 minutes in the gold graph. That would be awesome.
Yep. I mean, truly one of the most back-and-forth games that I've been able to watch, and a really fun one overall. If you watch the VOD back and then skip between the point at which the first pause happens into the last one, that will always be fun. I wonder if the highlight reel will also have something from that alternate universe that we moved away from.
Yeah. Oh, the gold graph should fork too for one.
It should,
each,
yeah.
One for each reality that we found ourselves in. That's
proper
for sure.
Spider-Verse moment happening right here.
Yeah. Well, wait. What is the term in Spider-Verse? The canon event, the Angel dying, Angel getting picked as the canon event.
Yeah.
They keep replaying it over and over again, but Angel dies every time.
It must happen in every single universe. Angel must be caught out there. That extra sucks for Angel, right? Like, I'm glad neither of these teams are eliminated from the entire split because we can still laugh about this a bit. As Angel, getting killed twice and knowing that in both universes it was gonna take your team out with it is just so frustrating.
To be fair, Angel getting picked barely, I think, even had an effect on this last team fight, because he's there. He shows up for it. Well, he has the TP up.
I don't think ThunderTalk get to walk into this topside river if he's not dead. That's the main thing for me, is that on that original universe where he gets picked off, the pole play's moving up towards the top side of the map, and potentially it turns into a 1-team fight in a 4v5. In this one, that pick just means that you have to back out as the members of EDG, and this positioning is everything right here. The fact that Keshi's able to just survive for so long, the fact that Feather's able to keep himself alive as well, just about. Oh. So back and forth this entire game.
Yeah. Love to get to see the players a little bit there. Heru. I mean, you just got to watch Heru in most of these fights. I think he does such a tremendous job. Of course, right as I say that, he misses a point-blank kunai. But apart from that, you know, it still works out for him somewhat in a relatively close team fight. This is the one where he pops off at the end, too, with the shuriken flip over the wall.
Just every single one of these team fights, it's so close to being lost, but Heru is crazy with the fact he's able to land that shuriken flip midway through, and the fact that the Goldens are able to keep everybody alive that would have died to that Pop Blossom. And I mean, I don't know that ZDZ could have fully turned it around at that point, but even then, the fact they're able to just keep themselves alive that long and just instantly end the game, and yeah, you saw it on the player cams, there's real emotion out of these players. Coming into today, can you imagine how stressed they were? Losing 2-0 and you're done.
Yeah, and it's a lot of your career on the line here, especially for these rookies. I mean, if you've only played 2 splits and you get you win 0 series in one of them and you get your team relegated in the other, it is not looking good for you, bud. It's not a great resume builder. So the fact that they're able to win here, the fact that they're able to take second in Group Nirvana, the fact that they're going to have a nice play-ins matchup for themselves, that we're going to be, you know, talking about them as a team that could potentially upset, that could potentially... Can you imagine Thunder talking Group Ascend in split number 3? Like,
hey,
it's in the cards. It's fully possible.
It would be fun. I mean,
I've seen
personally...
IG play games.
I think everybody has unfortunately watched IG play games. The idea of IG down in the bottom of Group Nirvana is really, really funny. I mean, looking at the players that they have and thinking, oh yeah, breathe and weigh. Those down in the depths of hell players, exactly what you're expecting. I mean, it is entirely possible at this point. I mean, I think people are really looking at LNG as having the best shot of going on through, which is fair enough. They have very much been able to dominate their way through this entire split. They only lose to EDG in that first game, and then everything else has been awesome. It's been great to see 1xN and Missing playing so well. Croco and Bulldog as a great pair. And Sheer, I think he's really been stepping up. He's been really coming into his own so far. And the fact that they get themselves that matchup up against Team WE, Team WE have been dysfunctional to the highest degree. They've looked so much better in the second round robin. The first round robin, they didn't manage to pick up a single game. But this is a WE that is eminently beatable. They are incredibly beatable at this point, and that's your ticket right here for LNG.
Certainly. Well, big congrats to ThunderTalk on their second place finish. EDG will have a chance to redeem themselves nonetheless in the play-in stage. They will take 4th seed. They will still get to play in the play-ins. Ultra Prime, of course, eliminated with this result. Y'all have waited long enough. WE versus NIP coming up next. We are going to throw it to a break. We are going to bring on Yanni and Rudude to take you through that second series of the day. Until then, stay tuned. We'll be back in a bit.